car is typically the second most expensive purchase anyone makes next to buying a home. So if you're planning to buy a new or used car in 2016, it's time to take the time to do your research before heading to the dealer. And here with us today is Calco's Senior Vice President of Consumer Lending, Mitzi Zarcone. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Linda.
I've been looking for a car recently, too, and boy, a lot of this hit home with me in terms of the things that you really need to look for and that I really haven't yet. So this is good information. And you have some main points that you want to get across first that are really the top three, and then we'll get into a lot more as well.
Yes, there are three costly mistakes that oftentimes will catch you off guard as a buyer. And the first one is researching your car before you go out and shop. It's fun to start shopping, but researching is key. And knowing the repair and maintenance protocol for the car that you're trying to buy is key. So one website that's really helpful, a great tool for consumers, is TrueCar.com. And it's a free site, free service that you can build any car that you want and just kind of play around with it before you go out and shop. The second costly mistake is not getting pre-approved and knowing what you can afford before you get out there. Having a pre-approval in hand is helpful. The average car that is financed is $30,000. It's a 6-year commitment, and the payments are $500. So that's quite a substantial commitment to a budget. And so knowing in advance what you can afford is really helpful, along with knowing the insurance costs. And the last costly mistake that people make is not being able to negotiate. They get in front of a dealer, and dealers are really good at what they do.
They know what they're doing, yes.
They are experts, and their goal is to have you drive a car off the lot that day. And so if you don't, or if you're not comfortable with negotiating and being able to say no, that's where you can get into some trouble.
You need to go in armed with information. Now, there's some other points, too. You talked about the pre-approval. What about used vehicles?
Used vehicles are tricky. If you can get a dealer to give you a Carfax report, it will give you a vehicle information on the vehicle history, where it's been. One thing to be mindful of is if you're buying a used car and it has come from out of state, you know, there's water damage in other states, there's things that go on that title and that car, and repairs can be covered up. So be mindful of watching for titles that have come in from another state.
And then also, you talk about that fear when you go into these places, too, accepting the first offer. You should do a little comparison shopping.
Absolutely, and that is where TrueCar type of site can be very helpful. And negotiating, being comfortable saying no.
And then what about paying over the dealer's invoice price? You know, you have all these numbers that come at you, and it's confusing sometimes to think, okay, what am I supposed to be paying? Because you find this amount per month, and that sounds good, but maybe it's longer with a higher interest rate, so it takes you longer to pay off.
Right. Just actually using the internet to your advantage and the tools that are available to you today to negotiate the best deal and not taking the first offer that they give you. Really try to negotiate downward.
What about MSRP, making the mistake of paying MSRP?
That would be a mistake.
Yeah?
You wouldn't want to pay MSRP if you didn't have to. Oftentimes that's used if a dealer will say there's only one of that kind of car in San Diego. You would probably want to pay MSRP to get it, but other than that, you wouldn't want to pay MSRP.
And then if you go in there, this is a good one. If you go in there and you show a lot of emotion, what does that tend to do?
You must hide your emotion as much as you love
Poker
that car.
face. Poker face.
And that's why it's good to bring someone that is comfortable negotiating, because they will know when the deal is kind of going south or when it's way outside of the boundaries that you've set for yourself, and they can kind of be your gatekeeper and help guide the process for you.
Okay, and then so you need to go in there kind of armed with information, it sounds like. Don't go in there just saying, okay, I'm going to buy a car today, I hope it happens, I'm crossing my fingers.
Right, because you will buy one.
Right, they'll make it happen.
They will make it happen.
Okay, and what about buying a car at the beginning of the month versus toward the end?
Dealers have quotas, so it is better to buy at the end of the month. A holiday weekend is a great time to buy. There's a lot of action going on. And so, but for the most part, end of the month is the better time frame.
And then maybe you go in there and you want certain things, a few bells and whistles, and they say, no, we only have this kind of car that you have to roll down your own windows. I'm exaggerating, but just something like that. Should you be able to get everything you want?
Absolutely. As I mentioned, it's a 6-year commitment if you're not paying cash, if you want to finance it. So really buy what you love. You have to feel good with your purchase and not feel like you've taken on something that you really didn't care for.
You know a lot about this.
We
area of
try.
expertise,
We
right?
try.
Okay, so where can we get some more information on auto buying? What would you suggest? And also financing at CalCoast.
At California Coast, if you go to our website, calcoastcu.org, we have a lot of information, general information. We can help you with a loan if you need that for your pre-approval. And we can also refinance vehicles for you. So you may decide that you really don't want to purchase now. You may just refinance your vehicle.
Okay, and so there's many good programs, and thank you so much for coming in. And if you're out there, and we all will be in the market at some point for another car, so appreciate your time.
Yes, thank you.
All right, we're going